Hey guys, it's Nicole. I'm back with another video, and I also wanted to give a little update on my subscriber count. I've surpassed 200 now, and I kind of can't believe that. That's still so wild to me. I really appreciate everyone who checks out my channel, honestly, because this is just something I do for fun. I just came from work from a job. I'm kind of tired. Like, honestly, I kind of just want to go eat and go lay down, but I love making these videos. I don't know. It's just something I really like to do, and it means a lot that there's people checking out my channel, watching my videos, and then even subscribing to my channel. That's still so wild to me. So, thank you so much. Every single one of you means a lot to me, and I mean that from the bottom of my heart. So, thank you so much. I have uploaded some videos in the past few weeks of like little things in my life. I went to New York by myself, and I posted a little bit about my trip and some of the things that I did to stay safe traveling by myself. And who knows, if those videos do well, then maybe I'll make some more content about my personal life, my daily life, or anything. Kind of depends. We'll see. I had fun making those videos. I don't normally talk about myself. I usually talk about things I'm interested in. So if you watch those videos, thanks for watching. If not, go check it out. I had such a fun time on my trip, and I did so many fun things. And if you're ever going to NYC, you should check out my video, because there's a lot of things I did that I think you might want to check out. And maybe a couple of things that you might not have thought about doing, but would be really fun to do. So that being said, today's video is going to be about a book. Now, so far through my channel, I have really only made videos about books that I really loved for whatever reason. Like, there was just something about the book that I loved so much that I just really wanted to make a video about it. So today's a little different because I have several books that I read that I definitely enjoyed, but they weren't my favorite. They were good books, not great books for me personally. And I'm not a literary critic. My degree is not in English or literature or anything. So if you disagree with me, it's just a matter of opinion. So that being said, I feel like I've said that a lot this video. I think I only said it twice, but I picked up this book at a used bookstore. I love going and getting new books, used books. I don't really have a preference, and I also like going to libraries, but this is a used book that I got, and I picked it up because the title and the way it's described looked so interesting to me. So it's called The Woman in the Window, and they made I think it's a Netflix movie, but they made a movie based on this book. So it's called The Woman in the Window, and it's by A.J. Finn. And I don't know, it was a really interesting cover. Like, it definitely gave me Rear Window vibes. And if you don't know what that is, definitely go check out Rear Window. I don't know if they've made how many modern updated versions of it, but the original movie, I think from the 50s, I could be wrong about that, but it's really good. It's a really good movie. It's thriller mystery type, which is exactly what this book is. So that's the kind of vibe that I got from the cover of the book, and so I was like, I'm definitely about that. That looks really interesting. And so I'm gonna read the back of the book. If I can't get perfect silence in this house, it just is what it is. I'm gonna read the back of the book, and then I'll go into a little bit of my thoughts. I'm not gonna give any spoilers right now, I promise. I will still do what I always do. I'm gonna stop like the kind of review of the book, and then I'll start talking about stuff that definitely includes spoilers, but I will make a clear cutoff, okay? So no spoilers right now, but this is the back of the book. So at the top, it says, "It isn't paranoia if it's really happening." Anna Fox lives alone, a recluse in her New York City home, unable to venture outside. She spends her days drinking wine, maybe too much, watching old movies, recalling happier times, and spying on her neighbors. Don't we all? Then the Russells move in to the house across the way. A father, a mother, and their teenage son. The perfect family. But when Anna, gazing out her window one night, sees something she shouldn't, her world begins to crumble, and its shocking secrets are laid bare. What is real? What is imagined? Who is in danger? Who is in control? In this diabolically gripping thriller, no one and nothing is what it seems. So, there's also like, what's the word for it? Like Stephen King spoke for this book. He is like an endorsement. That's the word I was looking for. There's a quote from Stephen King on the back of the book, and he's obviously one of the great horror thriller writers of his generation. So, based on all of that, I was sold. I was like, I'm definitely getting this book, and I'm very excited to read it. I was definitely on the edge of my seat the whole time. I had no idea where it was going. I felt like the author did a really good job kind of keeping you in the characters' moods. Like, when she's unsure if she's imagining things, you're like, maybe she is imagining things. But then she's so determined that, no, it's real, it's happening. You're like, yeah, it's probably real, it's happening. Like, he does a really good job of keeping you basically in the same mood, in the same headspace as the character. So I will give him that for sure. This was definitely thrilling and enticing for sure. I'm not going to say I didn't like this book, because I did. I really liked this book. I didn't love it, and at first I couldn't pinpoint why. Like, I was reading it and I'm like, yeah, I mean, her behavior kind of makes sense. Like, she can't leave the house. I'm not going to say why, because that's a spoiler. Like I said, I'm not going to give spoilers till later. You know, she can't leave the house. Like, her behavior makes sense, this and that. And then, so I was like, I don't know what it is that's bothering me about this book. I couldn't pinpoint it until I got kind of further in the book, and then some of the chapters got like really short, like it was one page, and then, you know, moved on to the next chapter. But, and this is just the style of the book, and maybe the way he wrote this was kind of like in the dramatic sense that he intended it to be, but it just felt kind of cringy and not like super. That didn't draw me in. Like, let me put it this way. He would describe things, you know, people, things, places. He would describe things from her perspective, and it would feel so dramatic, like kind of overdone. And maybe that's intentional, as some sort of technique to kind of model some other dramatization of this kind of mystery thriller. I don't know, it just felt kind of cringy to me. I don't know why. I don't have any other explanation for that than it just made me feel cringy. I don't know. That didn't pull me in. Her mindset and what goes through her head definitely pulled me in, but everything else was like, why does this feel so dramatic? You're describing a chair. I don't know. That's just how I thought about it. That's just what I felt. That's just what I felt. But I am going to go ahead and read the first page of the book. First page of the first chapter. So, there's a lot of snippets from reviews in the book, so that's what I'm trying to get through right now. So, it's taking a second, but we're almost there. Okay. So, this takes place, the book is organized like this, with a day and a date, all in the same year. It's all pretty chronological. It's not like jumping around too much. And when it is, that's why this is here, so that it clearly states like, okay, we're going back in time, like, and now we're back in the present. Flashbacks, I should say. But So the first chapter starts on Sunday, October 24th, and it just says 1. There's no like chapter names or anything. Her husband's almost home. He'll catch her this time. There isn't a scrap of curtain, not a blade of blind, in number 212, the rust-red townhome that once housed the newlywed Motts, until recently, until they unwed. I never met either Mott, but occasionally I check in online. His LinkedIn profile, her Facebook page. Their wedding registry lives on at Macy's. I could still buy them flatware. As I was saying, not even a window dressing. So number 212 gazes blankly across the street, ruddy and raw. And I gaze right back, watching the mistress of the manor lead her contractor into the guest bedroom. What is it about that house? It's where love goes to die. She's lovely, a genuine redhead with grass green eyes and an archipelago of tiny moles trailing across her back. Much prettier than her husband, Dr. John Miller, psychotherapist. Yes, he offers couples counseling. And one of 436,000 John Millers online. This particular specimen works near Gramercy Park and does not accept insurance at all. Does not accept insurance at all. According to the deed of sale, he paid $3.6 million for his house. Business must be good. I know both more and less about the wife. Not much of a homemaker, clearly. The Millers moved in 8 weeks ago, yet still those windows are bare. Tisk tisk. She practices yoga 3 times a week, tripping down the steps with her magic carpet mat rolled beneath one arm, legs shrink-wrapped in Lululemon. It goes into the next page, into a next paragraph, but I'm not going to do that because then it's a long paragraph, and that takes us into the second page, and I'm not going to do that because I don't want to get in trouble. I don't know how that works, but that's the first page of the book. I like to do that because I think maybe it gives anyone watching a little bit of an idea what it actually sounds like in the book. And I don't know, maybe you can kind of get what I'm feeling about the vibes of the book, how everything is described. It feels so... This is going to be a musical term, and only musicians are going to know what I'm talking about, but it feels very staccato. Like her thoughts are very, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Her thoughts don't feel like thoughts. They feel like really dramatic writing. So I think that's why a lot of the time it felt cringy, because it didn't feel like I was in her head. Random tickle in my throat. It didn't feel like I was in her head. It felt like I was in her journal, in her diary. It didn't feel like I was hearing her actual thoughts. I was hearing what she was putting down to paper, if that makes sense. I don't know if any of this made sense. I hope it does. And I think that's what bothered me so much about it. The story pulls you in, and her backstory and her as a character kind of pull you in, but then just her descriptions of things, her thoughts, everything just doesn't feel very human, doesn't feel very natural. And so it feels like I'm reading someone's diary and not really experiencing their perspective, which it seems is the goal of the book. Like, sometimes you're reading a book and it's like, yeah, this is their journal. You're reading this, and this is how you're getting to know them. So you're expecting that. But from this book, it doesn't feel like that. It feels like it's supposed to be like, this is her thoughts. She's describing this and you're in her head. But it doesn't feel right. So I don't know. That's kind of how I felt about it. I liked this book. I didn't love it. I haven't watched the movie. I believe it stars Amy Adams, which love her. So I'll probably watch it eventually. Getting around to it. I have a long list of things to watch, so we'll see. But yeah, it didn't wow me as a book. It wowed me as a thriller. Don't get me wrong. The surprise twists at the end and everything like that, definitely wows you as a thriller. But as a book as a whole, it didn't really wow me. So it is a good book to me, not a great book. And again, personal opinion. If you disagree, that is your personal opinion. So I'm going to move into a little bit more of the spoiler part of the book now. So if you don't want spoilers because you haven't read it or you, whatever reason, now is the time to stop the video. So if you're leaving, thank you for watching. And now we're going to continue on into the spoilers. So, big time spoiler, the culprit all along is not imaginary. We spend the whole book kind of mirroring the movie Rear Window. Is that Cary Grant? I'm not sure. I don't know. It's one of those actors from that generation. And, where he is kind of homebound like she is and sees something happen in a neighbor's window and is like, oh my God, like this happened and they were murdered, which is what happened with her. And so it's like a whole thing. And in here, it turns out that it is not imagined, that she had it a little bit wrong, but she was still kind of right. So the family that moved in across the street, she met the mom the very first day that everyone moved into the house. The family moved into the house. And the very night that they moved in, I believe, she witnessed the mom get murdered in the house across the street. And then the next day, there's another woman suddenly claiming she's the mom. And now Anna's like, am I imagining this? Like, I met the real mom. Who is this woman? And they're like, she's always been here. This has always been her. And the teenage son is always like, I don't know. Like, he kind of shows signs of abuse a little bit. And the kicker is Anna Fox, the main character, Anna, she is a child therapist. And so she takes to the teenage boy. I think his name is Ethan. I don't know. I'm kind of having a hard time remembering the characters' names right now. But he kind of shows signs of not necessarily abuse, but definitely, feeling not very confident. Like maybe he experiences some kind of degradation at home. And so she really takes to him, because she's a child therapist. She really cares about people. And I'm trying to find his name. I'm just trying to make sure. Yes, it is Ethan. I just wanted to make sure I was right about that because I could actually check. So it turns out that Anna is homebound because she is agoraphobic, which means you're too afraid to leave the house, too afraid of the outside, since an accident that she was in that killed her husband and young daughter, and kind of left her somewhat disabled. She's definitely on medications and things. So she's already not the most mentally stable person. And throughout the story, police are not believing her and she's being gaslit by the neighbors across the street. And it's very frustrating and confusing. You're like, who do I believe? Like, is she really seeing this? Are they just taking advantage of the fact that she's on medication so they can be like, oh yeah, like it's just her. That's just her mental state. So you go through that whole thing with her, that whole roller coaster of, is she imagining things or not? So it's really cool. That's why I did like the book, because the thriller part of it, the uncertainty, all of that, the intrigue is really, really well written. Like, it's definitely keeps your interest. I couldn't put the book down, even though there were parts that were bothering me about it. I still couldn't put it down. And in the end, it turns out it was Ethan that murdered his mom, because it turns out that woman actually was I think, his birth mom, and she came to get him, but she was a druggie, and he is a little bit of a sociopath, and he killed her. And then he started breaking into Anna's house and like being there at night and like kind of trying to psych her out because he's kind of a sociopath. He's into older women and likes to mess with them. So it turns out it was Ethan the entire time, and she was not imagining it. And it ends in like a big fight, and she wins basically. And it works out well for her in the end. So definitely a good ending, definitely a well-written like thriller, and it goes all over the place, and it has twists that I definitely didn't see coming. I saw a lot of things coming, but I didn't see that stuff coming. So definitely works as a thriller. I really think it was well written in that aspect. I will stand by my, I hate to say criticism, but criticism of the way her thinking and the other descriptions of things are written. It just feels very stilted and not natural. So I don't know. I'm not gonna say you should read this book. I think if you are into mysteries and thrillers, I definitely am. I love that stuff. It could be worth a read, you know? I honestly, even books I don't like, I still am happy that I read them, because you're not gonna like everything. That's just not how the world works. And plus, what I don't like, you may like. So I would not read this again. Like, let me put it that way. I'm glad I read it, but it definitely isn't something I'm gonna reread at any point. So I'll probably be donating this, or, you know, something. I only keep the books that I want to reread eventually, because there's no space for other ones. So, yeah, take that, you know, with a grain of salt. Take my criticism with a grain of salt. Maybe tell me what you think, honestly. If you've seen the movie or read the book, because I don't know how much the movie is like the book, let me know in the comments if you have any opinion on that. And maybe you have an opinion on the author, AJ Finn. I've never heard of him. I don't think I've read anything else of his. I definitely would be interested to read something else of his. I kind of wonder if that way he wrote the book is like a particular style for this story, or if it's just the way he writes. Because if it's just the way he writes, then I'm like, maybe I don't want to read his other things. But if it is like a kind of weird writing tactic, I might be like, okay, I see where you're going. So we'll see. I might try to look up other books that he's written. If anyone has heard of any or read any and has a suggestion, please put it in the comments. I do check comments. I just don't check them every day. I get around to it eventually. It just takes me a little bit of time. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. I wanted to start sharing some of the books that I've read that maybe necessarily weren't my favorite, but I'm still glad I read them, because I feel like I still got entertainment out of the book. I did. I was enthralled the whole time. Like, I was like, ugh, like, I'm so frustrated. I don't know what's going on, and something's confusing me. It definitely kept my attention, and I love that kind of stuff. So I definitely recommend jumping outside of your comfort zone and doing that kind of stuff, because you never know. You'll still get something out of it, even if you didn't love it. So thank you so much for watching. If you watched all the way to the end of this video, I know that sometimes videos can get kind of long, and sometimes all of our attention spans are kind of just decreasing a little bit over time. But if you watched all the way through, thank you so much. I really appreciate every single viewer, anyone who checks out my channel. I appreciate every single one of you. I really, really do. And I will continue to make videos about books that I've read. And I will get into some books that I've read that I've pretty much completely disliked. So there's a whole range of things that I am yet to get to. So look forward to that stuff, and definitely subscribe to my channel. You'll get notified when I post videos. I upload videos every Friday morning. I kind of bounce back and forth. If you're not familiar with my channel, I do kind of book reviews and more just my thoughts on books. And I also like to make book videos about pop culture and celebrity gossip. So check out my channel, subscribe, and like this video if you enjoyed it. And thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all next week.